Right. One of the things Renee touched on in that interview there with Michael Patrick a few minutes ago was about bragging about our awards and things like that. And it's so hard to speak up and talk about our accomplishments. And for some reason, that's something maybe as women we've done ourselves. I'm not quite sure. I do not like to blame things on men. So how do you handle that?
Well, I'm not a big bragger either, but I think that's a skill that most women need to work on, because I think it can come across as bragging instead of just the confidence that you know what you're talking about, and I think that's a fine line.
Right, right. Sherrill, you speak a lot in the community to all different types of groups. And I mean, how do you demonstrate those accomplishments that you've made without seeming like you're bragging and coming across in that professional manner?
It's the difference in bragging and being confident. And I've recently tried to work on that. And years ago, we weren't trained. We were trained more to be submissive in the mother and the daughter. And nowadays, I think the young girls have a little bit of an edge because their families are pushing them a little bit ahead. So it really starts with when you're growing up and being, more humble and things like that. And you do have to hold up your head and be proud of the things you've done.
Very good, very good. Now, let's just touch a base a little bit on working with men. I'm a married woman. I feel like I work at home with my husband and balancing that communication. But in the workplace, it's a lot different. There's things that you just can't say. So, I mean, let's just talk a little bit about that, whether it's a superior or a coworker. I mean, is there a situation you can think of, Sherrill, in working with another man that, you kind of struggled with that communication? The example that Renee gave about relocating. I mean, that's something that I actually experienced this year. There was a opportunity, and I would need to do a little bit more travel. I have young kids, and I did go to my boss, and I said, "Hey, I want to do this."
Right.
And I'm lucky that we balance things at home. I have an amazing husband that steps up to the plate to help, but
finding the right mentor is a real key too. I know in the auto business, I was fortunate to start with a company whose owner believed in women and that they could grow. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been hired.
Okay.
So finding the right mentor, and then when I went on to Saturn, I had a fabulous mentor who had been in the car business for a long time, worked with men, starting as a receptionist. So she had a lot of fabulous tips. So finding the right mentor and listening to them is one of the big keys, I think, in these days.
Okay. Would you agree with that?
I do, and I think it's key that you're working with someone who doesn't prejudge or pre-assign.
Yes.
I think that happens a lot with women, because I think you're right. When you've got a young family, you're going to make the assumption that Marsha doesn't want to hit the road, and I think you need to be willing to offer that opportunity if that is a candidate who could be successful at that job. And that's just being a little bit more open-minded and just thinking it all the way through instead of making the predisposition that she's not going to want that job.
And having the right partner in your life that will accept your challenges and work. Somebody that's a good partner is the biggest key on,
Right.
for you.
Right. I totally agree. Well, thank you guys so much for being in here. It was refreshing to hear a little bit about what Renee said, and we'll go forward in this world and work together with our men.
Make sure we toot our own horn.
And
Exactly.
and you can do anything you want, ladies.